You all welcome to today's forum, which is on the trends and emerging opportunities for women in the pharma business. Before us today, we have an array of women. These ladies have gone through the seasons and the times, and they are so much abreast with the current trends in business. Like all other business, every other business goes through changes, and the pharma business has not been left out. That also has gone through changes. But we have with us here women who understand the trends, the changing times and the seasons. So they are here to share with us from various aspects. Now, are you hearing? Ready to hear them? We have in our midst Pharmacist Patience Chega. She's the MD of Unicom Chemists and also the Vice President of the Pharmacy Importers and Wholesalers Association.
Thank you.
You're welcome. She'll speak to us on pharmacy operations in the pharmacy business. And then we also have Kate. Kate is the MD of Prime Pharmacy, and she will speak to us on people management in pharmacy business. Can we clap for them, please? Audience, you may note down your questions as you listen to them, and when it comes to question and answer time, we'll try to give you some answers to whatever will be concerning you, whatever will be your concern. So, Patience, would like to start with us on pharmacy operations.
Hello, everybody. So I'm here to talk to you about pharmacy operations in Ghana and with women, and then also what trends are changing in the pharmacy business as at now. So if we talk about pharmacy operations, we talk about how you get your pharmacy opened, whether you want to do a retail pharmacy or a wholesale pharmacy. First of all, you have to think about what name you are going to use for your pharmacy. And I know there are a lot of young ladies who would want to go into pharmacy, whether wholesaling or retailing. We are focusing on ladies now because we want the numbers to increase a bit more than we have in the pharma business now. So like I said, you think about what name you would want to use, and then that name has to be registered with the Registrar General. So what has changed about that in these times? Because of the COVID, everywhere you go now in Ghana, people are working from home, people are working in shifts, people are working less hours. So if you want it to be quick, you join your hands and your minds together and think about the name you want, and then you head for Registrar General. You get the name registered. Then the next step will be to Pharmacy Council, where you are going to register either your retail or your pharmacy. It's after that, most probably you might have to get a location before you even go to Pharmacy Council. And because of the trends, again, it takes a bit slower for Pharmacy Council to get your shop registered. When your shop is registered, you have to get the place organized, and then you come to stocking. What we are having at the moment because of the COVID is a supply chain disruption. So most of the items that you would have wanted to stock might not be available. You find yourself either driving all over trying to stock your shop. But the good thing is there's technology. Most wholesalers are online. You can call, they will deliver. You can go online and look at what they have, and then you can place orders. When it comes to funding, there are some lady pharmacists who might be able to help you to raise funds for your pharmacy. And I'm sure we shall be getting there very soon. Are there any more?
Thank you, Patience. Yeah, Patience, I just mentioned funding, and that brings to mind one of our panelists, who's Mansa. Mansa is the CEO of the Standard Chartered Bank. Please stay tuned to hear Mansa. She'll be speaking on funding and financing in pharmacy. If you don't hear her now, you hear at the next session. So please, when you hear that there's another forum coming up, lead it, we'll let you know, and please ensure that you stay in. Yes, we are not in normal times, we are in abnormal times. Thank God we are being sponsored by Kinel Hand Sanitizer. Kinel is sponsoring this program. Kinel, thank you. Please, can you clap for Kinel? Yeah. Patience, having heard you, may we hear somebody speaking to us on inherent strengths? You may want to do that for us because yes, you have you've been in this business for so long. There are some inherent strengths that will be required to operate a pharma business successfully. Would you like to share what it is that you have that has made you so successful and what others may want to cultivate?
You have to be hardworking, and you have to be firm, because you are now going to be working with people that you have to manage. We all know in school we are not taught much management. Then you come out and you open a shop and you have to manage the shop and manage people. People managing is very difficult, but it becomes part of your work. As you do it, you get used to it and you learn the tricks of how to manage the people. And those are the inherent things that you need to be able to grow the business.
Wow. That tells me that we need to be strong. But you mentioned something about management of people.
Yeah.
When it comes to engaging people, I mean, right from the time that you engage to their exits, it comes with challenges. But we want to see the opportunities in there. In fact, by the time a staff is leaving, even when they are leaving at the tail end, it's either they are leaving through the police or we are going through labor commission. We really have challenges in there. But then there are opportunities because we cannot work alone. So what are these opportunities that we need? What do we want to harness? How are we going to harness the people that we engage so that we can get the expected results that we want to get from them?
Yeah, it is a learning process. And I can say every human being has his or her talent. So you meet them and you try to play on everybody's strength. You bring your strengths together and get the business to go. And there are certain times that you might have to ignore some of the things that they do and rather get them together as a mother and try to talk to people, try to make them understand the need to live on a better note than to live through the police or labor commission. A lot of the people, if you want to go by what they do before they leave, you will always be running to the police station. And I don't think we want to run shops where when you are going to eat, you lock up. When you want to go and buy something, you lock up. You definitely need people. So we all have to learn how to work with them. A lot of people have strengths they don't know, but you have to help them build it up. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Patience.
Yeah.
Okay. Donna, you want to chip in something?
I wanted to. Mrs. Chega, one thing that you said that caught my attention was the name, the brand of the pharmacy operation that you want to have. People choose certain names. I'm sure you just hear the name and you're wondering, really, is there a pharmacy? And then there are also others that you hear and you feel like, oh, okay, because of the name, you think something really pharmaceutical care is going on. In your experience, how would you get a name that, should I say, really connotes what you want to do?
It takes a lot of thinking. People merge their names, Victoris, then we have NS Chemist, but there's always sometimes a story behind the name.
Okay.
And the name should be such that it will be easy to remember, and maybe easy to spell. And it shouldn't be a name that you are copying somebody. So at the end of the day, an issue comes up and it is somebody else, but it's associated with you because of the name. So it's always something that you have to think through before you pick a name. Thank you.
And maybe if I can add to that. Once you come up with a name, you may want to do a search at the Registrar General to ensure that that name has not been used by anybody. You need clearance from there also before you start doing your things and then somebody comes to take you on that, why are you using my name? Yeah.
Can I come in?
Yes.
We're talking about the people you work with. I'm just wondering, are the MCAs adequately trained? Are they given enough training such that you don't end up with this police station, labor office thing? Is the training adequate? Because sometimes I think they may be focusing on the technical side and maybe leaving the customer care and stuff out of it. I don't know. I'm not in direct farm, so.
The training per se is not enough.
Okay.
But we do a lot of training
On
as
site.
they come in. You have to do a lot of training. Because even we are fortunate to have the MCA now. When we started, you pick somebody on the street and you start the training from onset.
I see.
They don't know how paracetamol looks like. They don't know what they use it for. But we have them in the shops and we run the shops with them. My sister will tell you. That was how we started.
Okay.
So MCA coming in, at least they know how Nefident looks like, which is a plus. The rest, you have to do it yourself.
But is it possible to kind of restructure the training they get as MCAs
Yes.
based on the experiences you have
Yes.
to kind of couch the training such that they come out a bit better than they're coming out now?
That can be done. That reminds me, when we started, the people that we picked were not supposed to be dispensing because there were dispensing technicians and dispensing technologists. So you enter a pharmacy and you get from the person who will be cleaning and later on gets to know the medicines to the dispensing technician, to the dispensing technologist, to the pharmacist.
Okay.
So it was a bit easier, I would say, maybe. But right now, because we are not able to get the dispensing technicians and technologists, because everybody wants to be a pharmacist, there's a gap now. So what we have now is an MCA with little knowledge who wears the coat and then the pharmacist.
Okay.
So to bridge the gap, we still have to fall on the dispensing technician and technologist.
And just to add to what she said, the MCAs have the training for them to serve as support staff. They don't replace the pharmacists. Neither are they replacing the technologists. They are a support staff at the medicine counter, and they're actually called medicine counter assistants.
Okay.
So they're just assistants in the pharmacy. There's a level as to how much they can go. You can send them around instead of the pharmacist, the technical person running around to source for products and all that. They can do all those running around and leave the technical aspect of it to the pharmacist to do. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, yes.
In managing, possibly like you had said, of course, previously the pharmacy training we had in pharmacy school does not really put you as a manager. But you come out and you want to go into pharmacy business, and so you do become a manager. One thing I think we should also look at is the possibility of us also doing other things, getting other knowledge, like HR, for instance, which can supplement what you know technically as a pharmacist for women to go into pharma business. We need to, you rightly put it, we need to create a balance between I want to be a mother to my staff and I am a manager to my staff. I think we need to create a very good balance because in you having that two balance, you are also not taking advantage of and losing, but then and again, you are also training other people to become better than themselves. So we need to come out of, oh, okay, I'm a pharmacist and I can have a pharmacy business by license. That is good. But let's come out and also explore and study and learn other courses, HR, other things that can supplement what we technically know as being a pharmacist. Because for me, I think that would actually make you a better pharmacy business owner as a woman than just trying to always play and use, let me mother them, and because I'm a technical person, I can actually come into the pharmacy space.
Yeah, Nana has mentioned something about, from what Nana said, if I hear you right, you're talking about you taking it up as a business and not mother-daughter relationship. So what would you like to share with us? What opportunities are there for us to explore so we can be better managers of our businesses?
Yeah, there are several courses being run every single day. So we can go online, we can check with places where they run courses, and then we can enroll maybe part-time, maybe online, and then we learn. At the same time too, we can get our staff to learn, get training. We can get, if you are talking about HR, if we have the means, we can also employ HR people to help us or get consultants to help us. And running the business doesn't end with a pharmacy degree. You always have to update yourself. Apart from the CPDs that we do, there are courses that we really have to get involved with.
Thank you. Talk of CPDs. We say thank you to Lead It Africa because they are forever giving training. In fact, this is one of the things they are doing, exposing us to what is out there, trends and opportunities available for women in the pharmacy business. Lead It Africa has also been involved in CPDs. So ladies, if you hear of any CPD being organized, please, it's usually for free. Education, I mean, like the 40 CDs or 50 CDs that we pay, it's just so small compared to the knowledge that we acquire. So I'll encourage ladies to always patronize these CPDs.
May I say something?
Thank you,
I think
Nancy.
that, as women, when we are managers, you realize they call us ma. They tend to take advantage of us sometimes because of that compassionate, nurturing nature. So I think women have to be a little more firm sometimes.
Yeah,
you said it, to walk that thin line.
You have to be
You actually said it. Otherwise, they build on that ma thing. They never call the male bosses dad.
Daddy. They do.
They never do. But they'll call you mommy. And because of the mommy thing, if you are not careful, you allow so much to happen. And you start seeing them as your children. And then even when you have to reprimand, it's not, you tamper justice with mercy, right? So I think as women, sometimes we need to move a little bit away from the ma concept and then actually handle things a bit more technically than, I wouldn't say more like men, but really go about it without all the compassion and sympathy we usually apply.
Thank you.
The sympathy and compassion can work to advantage. Sometimes being interested in people's lives, dealing with them, they will do more for you when you need it, just because you're a woman sometimes. But again, we shouldn't let it override the advantages we get from it, so that we end up with being ma, and then somebody's doing something bad, you have to hand him over to the police, like you're saying, but because of the ma, you say, okay, let's give him another chance. We keep on doing that. It's our nature, we can't change it, but sometimes when it comes to business, you have to try to be a bit firm and fair, actually. It happens more to women than men, really. So I think we need to take note of that particular ma factor and then deal with it.
Viewers, may we acknowledge some of our sponsors. We have Johnson Pharmaceuticals, Olson's, Lapag. That Lapag can't be stressed. The Lapag mother herself is here. And Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana and Coffee Chrome. Please, can we give them a clap of recognition? We are really grateful to you, our sponsors. Nancy mentioned something about women not being taken advantage of because the staff start calling you mommy, and because we are so sentimental, we are soft. Do you have anything in place that checks performance? I'm looking at appraisals and how are you sticking to them? Yes.
Yes, so in my place, we have the appraisals, performance indices, and all these things, like I said, they don't come into your operations in a day. You have to go for training, you have to learn. Otherwise, we leave those things for the multinationals alone to do, and we go by our ma, and by the time you realize your business is collapsed. So we have our appraisals and we have our checklist of what you have to do. We just instituted something in our pharmacy where when you go to work, every shop that opens, we have the opening tax, which you have a list of things that you have to do and make sure that it is done, and you send WhatsApp to, there's a group of managers. So you tell us all the opening tax has been done, and then closing as well. You do your closing tax. So if anything should happen, which shouldn't be happening because of those tax, you'll be held responsible. So those are the little things that we've put in place. we have the reward systems, and we have the punitive ones too. And like you said, when you are growing a bit bigger and the man is growing bigger with you, you might have to draw back and let the managers who are the men, they always want the hard ones, so you leave it to the men. Then you still manage everybody though. You'll be behind and be managing, and it will work well.
Yeah.
I think just to chip in, and Patience, I think your point there is an excellent one, in that with whether it is a pharmacy, whether it is whatever business, there are procedures that should be in place. These procedures help us with the way we work. So for example, as you said, for us in manufacturing is our standard operating procedures. So if somebody is not following that, you can find out what it is that they did, why they did it, and ensure that it doesn't get repeated. As well, one of the things we are just recently about to institute is what I call a code of conduct. And it's something that I think is essential in every business, in how we actually operate and what we mean, and in terms of being able to ensure that people operate with integrity, do not actually, as you said, steal in certain ways, and therefore we can actually say this is how we want them to work within our environment. When you have those already spelled out, whether you call me Ma or not, I can refer to it. I'm sorry. I think if we, as whether we are women, can say that we are able to discipline our children, we should be able to take that back into whatever workplace and environment, and also discipline, the adults. Because for too often, things are left because people feel, why? No. If we follow or you're not following, there should be a fundamental reason, and I say this to a lot of people. Sometimes even when you have some of these operating procedures in place, there might be a situation where something has changed. If we look at the situation we're in right now. So I may have had a procedure where we didn't used to wear masks. Now that something has changed, I need to go back, review my operating procedure, update it, ensure it goes with the new times, and therefore when there's an infraction, I can hold them accountable. A lot of times, once we put certain procedures in place, we sit back, we've done it. Continuous improvement is essential in order for our businesses to grow. That's what we're talking about when we even say continuous learning. So you're improving yourself, you're improving your business, you're improving your systems. Everything has to be continuously improved so that what you did 5 years ago would have been good. It's not essential. It's not going to take you very far today.
Thank you. So, audience, we just heard from Theresa Yolson. She is also a pharmacist.
Yeah, I'm saying. Actually, no, I'm not a pharmacist.
She's a woman in pharma business. She's a woman in pharma business, but fighter writer. She's into manufacturing. And she just threw some light on operating procedures. Whatever they are applying here, it runs across, wherever you are. Once you have the procedures in place, if I get you right.
Yes.
If you are in retail, if you are in wholesale distribution, if you are in a hospital, once the procedures have been spelled out, we just have to follow through. And sanction and reward accordingly. Thank you very much, Theresa. Thank you. Yeah, Nancy, you're going to say something.
I thought that was very good.
She summed it up. She summed it up for us.
Yeah. So, Kate, are you there?
Yes, may I come in, please?
Please do. We've just been waiting for you.
I'd like to add on to the fact that pharmacy is a professional field, and as much as possible, we need to have industry experts, we need to have the right certification of the procedure as well. We need to understand and get to the point to streamline our thinking to the fact that as the brand grows, the company has to have procedures in place that would make sure that activities are in line with what the organization goal is.
Procedures.
Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's important. That's true. That's important.
Yeah. And what we have CPPA, Community Pharmacists Association, they have the SOPs. in the guidelines. So, lady pharmacists, I'll encourage you to get lines in pharmacy management, and I believe you see all the SOPs there. You can do your own.
Yeah.
The standard procedures are there, but you can adapt it to wherever environment you're operating in. And I'm sure we should be fine to cope with the trends and the opportunities available to us. Yes. Yeah, you want to say something here? Audience, you're free to come in. Please jump in if you have something to contribute. And if you have a question to ask, please, we are all ready for you. Contributions from the floor? Are we there?
While we wait for them,
Yeah.
One aspect that I want us to also look at, which Mrs. Chega talked about, in terms of your ability to grow. Do you have a standalone pharmacy? Would you want to merge? Would you want to have partnership? If so, what are some of the things what are some of the opportunities in partnership? What are some of the opportunities in me alone having my pharma business? What are some of the risks that would have to take if we are looking at, I'm going into a partnership? And in Ghana, do you really, people have this thing, I'm going to partner with a Ghanaian. Would it work? Do I have to go? Or it's family, so I go family line. What is your take on that?
Every business is a partnership. So even though we start the business as a sole person, you might end up getting members of your family joining. It becomes a family business. But to get up and do a partnership to start the business, you should know the person you are going in with. People always say partnership doesn't work well in Ghana, but a few, I think, have been able to grow up. And it all calls for spelling out what your rules, your plans, your aims are. Because there are times that you come together and one person might be working elsewhere and another person is the one who is running the place. Immediately the funds start coming, then dishonesty comes in. And when the dishonesty comes in, it builds a lot of bitterness. So I think from the onset, you have to spell out how you want it to grow. I've seen a few partnership businesses grow to some level, even though it's not anything that is inherent in this our part of the world. Because when the business starts, then friends start advising, family starts advising, spouses start advising. So it becomes a problem. But if you are firm and you know the person you are going with, I think it should work. A few have worked that I have seen. So it's not a no, it can work.
Yeah, I just wanted to chip in something when it comes to partnerships. I think, especially when it comes to distribution, pharma distribution, you will find one company taking stocks from Accra to Kumasi. Another one is taking similar lines, also from Accra to Kumasi. So the cost of transportation is being borne by all of us. Why can't we come together in a joint venture so that we can share this cost of transportation and also share the risks involved? However, as Patience has said, it's an individual. The people have some inherent characteristics which does not allow for partnership. But so far as we understand ourselves and we see it as a business, I think we may want to put personal
sentiments and views aside.
aside and work as a team, as a business. So if we have everything spelled out, this is what we are going to do, and we stick to it with a legal backing, then everybody will set up. At the end of the day, we all stand to gain. There are opportunities in joint ventures, opportunities because then together we grow. But in Ghana, our businesses are so fragmented and we are so small. But if we were to come together and harness our strengths, then I believe we will then see rewards in our coming together. Yes.
Can we put that up as a challenge to the
I
young
was actually
ladies,
going to
the
say, I think
ladies,
she's even
yeah.
giving me a business idea.
And in fact, as you're saying, taking on from there, a lot of times it's also actually being able to identify what your strengths are. That's the way I look at it. In that, I am not, as I said, I'm not a pharmacist, but perhaps I have excellent supply chain expertise. So what I can bring to that partnership is my distribution, so that I can take from your pharmacy, from yours, and then send to either your outlets in Kumasi or even to hospitals in Kumasi on your behalf. So if I come to you with a business model of that nature, then it's in the terms and conditions, and look, you can get any lawyer, etc., to agree. You might then give me perhaps a percentage of the value of the sales for that distribution cost. I have taken off you something that you actually don't have the expertise or the knowledge about. What we tend to do, and that's the point you're making, which is very right here in business in Ghana, and that's where I've worked in multinational companies. That's what they understand in the sense of knowing where their strengths lie and bringing to bear that they cannot do everything
along the supply
exactly
chain.
what you're saying, yes. So along the value chain, what should they be known for? And they continue to stress on that and build on that. Then they leave the rest and find others who can support their expertise in order to get it to the final consumer. Because in reality, and I was trying to explain that in another like Zoom call I was in just yesterday, we're in COVID times. So everybody is asking us in Ghana, in the pharmaceutical world, what can you do? How can we quickly catch up and perhaps manufacture medicines? I'm in manufacturing. But the reality is, if we have not put in our society and even overall in Ghana, over the last 30, 40 years, a concerted and systematic approach to building the entire pharmaceutical value chain, from the making of the medicines to the pharmacies, etc. We can't wake up overnight and expect it to be there. This is being a little ludicrous. You understand me? I will still have to rely on global supply chains. I cannot erase my partnerships with India and China overnight because active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs I need are being made there. What has India done? India has said, I have invested in the technology. I've invested in the expertise. I've invested in the know-how to manufacture these APIs at a cost that completely cuts out maybe Europe. Why am I not buying from Europe today? I can perhaps say quality matches, but India is able to say to me, quality for quality, you can get cheaper there. And that's where when then you put all of it together, then you say, quality for quality, I can deliver to Kumasi. I, as a supply chain person, can take from 5 of you, and because I'm taking exactly to your point, from 5 of you, I'm maximizing and optimizing the cost of every single truck that leaves Accra and drives off to Kumasi. So that your one truck may not be cost effective. You're paying for the driver, you're paying for the fuel, you're even paying for maybe a bank loan, even just to
insurance.
Thank you. I can have 5 or 6 in a fleet. I am checking for every driver how long he spent. And you see, a lot of times I keep telling our teams, I'm sorry, as we are growing Ghana, what we need is analysis. We don't check and analyze half of what we do. We're just doing it for doing sake. But measure, look, you think abroad, that truck, before he moved from point A to point B, it's not even a truck, thank you. Everything, every cost has been itemized down to the nth detail. So that he knows I better rest only 15 minutes in, say, at that rest stop, no more, or half an hour. It should take me 2 hours from here before I get to. If he doesn't get there, he doesn't make his money.
Wow.
Yeah. So we are learning.
Yeah, we are learning.
We are learning.
I want
Yes.
to add that a lot of the partnerships in Ghana don't work because they are not formal.
They are not
Formal. They are not formalized.
Thank you, yes.
We just sit together and agree we'll do this, we'll do that, and that is all.
And it's a verbal agreement.
And half the time we are
Doesn't
friends,
work.
so I can't hold you to it. Even when you are obviously flouting it, I can't do much about it. So I think they need to formalize it. And apart from that, know the value chain. I'm sure there are so many opportunities along the value chain. If the value chain is clearly defined, the partnerships will roll out of it. And once you formalize it, the person knows it's a formal business. It's not whether you're my husband, you're my sister, you're my brother, there's a legal document on it.
If you are not
For
performing,
them to, exactly, so that you can hold the other party as well as yourself to what you're supposed to do with the agreement. A lot of them don't work because it's very informal. We sit down one evening or after church and decide if we do this together to be nice. So their life is no.
and then when I ask you that I want to check the thing, you think I am being,
You are being
difficult. I am
You're being too known.
Thank
Being
you.
a woman,
She's a woman, so she's being
so you're just bringing the woman
This is the way we do it. We've been doing it like this all this while. Why do you want to
telling
bring
my
this change?
children I like maths, and women like maths. Look at the woman in Makala. She's adding today. She's subtracting something else. She's dividing. You think they don't do maths?
They know.
She better not lose a penny out. So why do we think that when we are in business, we should not use those same analytical skills? Sorry, we have them. We need to reinforce
formalize
that.
it. And that's it. There are lots of opportunities along the value chain as you've described. I'm not a pharmacist either, but
In
I
fact,
can see the
think
logistics and
just
all
pick
that.
something up.
there's a business idea
Exactly.
that has just come up, which we can look at. Supply chain. Somebody should look at it. Possibly because you're a pharmacist, it even puts you in a better position to understand how the drug has to leave
And at
from
first, I thought it moves from one end to
3
the
or
other.
4 wholesalers to their destination, and it could be something that you can do, as opposed to allowing all the
Individuals to cut
pharmaceutical companies and hubs to do it individually. You can put it in.
Somebody wants to speak.
Yes.
I heard it.
Yes,
Yes, Kate.
Go on, Kate.
yes. Before we move on to the supply chain, I wanted to add on to the analysis bit.
Yes.
Yes, I would like to say that I think we don't do enough analysis as well. For instance, if I look at the pharmacy market, the pharmaceutical market, and then the population that we have in Ghana as a country, I can say that the pharmaceutical section is sort of a bit overpopulated. But if different pharmacies could come together to form one institution as opposed to setting up different production lines, these would be people who would, be sharing the risk and be sharing the revenue that comes with it as well.
That's a good one.
Bigger.
Yeah.
We
Ladies,
have
there's-
tiny operations.
Thank you. A question has just come in. Mr. Hemenadai wants to hear this. He says, I hear a lot of emphasis on lady pharmacists. What are my chances of success if I'm not a pharmacist but want to do pharma business?
Okay.
He's not a pharmacist, but he wants to do pharma business. As a woman, I guess.
Yes, I guess that's a pharmacist.
Doing the pharmacy business begins with you having a pharmacist. So if you are not a pharmacist but you are interested, you need a pharmacist to begin with. And if you are a business person and you are business inclined, together with the pharmacist, you can do something big. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think as we said, there's the whole value chain between production to ending up in some pharmacy shop or a hospital or even to the consumer.
Yes.
So I think if the person has enough funds and the logistics, right? Yeah. The logistics to be able to, find out. Maybe you don't have to be a pharmacist, but you can actually transport the drugs. Is this a pharma business? I'm not too sure.
Yes. You
So
just
you could actually take anything along the supply chain
Mm-hmm.
and make it work out as well. But I think if you want to have a pharmacy, then you must be a pharmacist or employ a pharmacist.
Exactly. Yes.
That
And
is,
there are things along the chain that you could actually get involved.
but in all that we are saying, there's a regulator. When it comes to pharma business, the regulator, even distribution, We have good distribution practices, good storage practices. All these
All
have to
those
be
come
met.
into play.
So you don't just jump in and start storing products
You
anywhere.
need to go through
and
some
then-
due process.
Yes,
Understand exactly what you want
Exactly.
in that chain.
Yes.
And then apply for the requisite licenses.
Exactly. And you have the opportunity to engage a pharmacist.
Okay.
The pharmacist has been trained, he's technical, he will teach you what storage, what temperature controls you have to be in place, you know, storage conditions, the pesticide, all that,
All those
fumigation and all that. So please engage your pharmacist.
We will.
Engage the pharmacist, and especially the lady pharmacist.
You will engage.
That's true. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we have another question here. It says, please, can we get the contacts of the panelists so we can engage them after this session? Sure.
That
Sure,
is very
it's-
possible.
yes.
And
Lead it to
yes, Lead It Africa would ensure that you can get the appropriate contacts of the panelists to talk. Because for me, I think that women in pharma business shouldn't just end here. It is an ongoing thing. Trends and opportunities in pharma business come every single time. I mean, we woke up in March 15th, we went to church, and 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., we were told we can't do anything from the 16th of March 2020. So we can, you can. It's an ongoing thing, and it's emerging. And one thing we need to look at, like Teresa had said earlier, things and how we used to do things in 2010, 15, 5 years ago may not necessarily work for us now. So we need to look at what works, what it is. And thankfully for us being pharmacists, or thankfully if you wanting to come into the pharma space, is more or less you need to investigate, you need to listen, you need to look at, you need to interrogate all those things. And as you do those things, opportunities would come, emerging trends will show up. But then you also need to be prepared for it. I mean, if you are here now and you are listening, for you'd want to go into pharma business, you want to go into something. I think one of the things you should look at doing now is know the business, learn about it. Like Nancy said, don't just wake up and over a cup of tea with a friend, have an idea, and then you just want to start. Let's put the procedures and let's put down what we are supposed to ensure that before we lift off, we actually have a firm ground to stand on. Because if your foundation is weak, is more or less your business is going to fail. We don't want women to come into this and fail because the men are not failing. We can't fail. We just need to have a good mindset, know what we are about, have the requisite training, and of course, manage our people and ourselves. And I'm sure we'll be able to have a good pharma business as a woman.
Thank you, Nana. You have just answered somebody's question.
Oh, really?
She says, as a young woman who wants to do pharma, would your panelists be willing to support and mentor me through the process? I guess we are ready. We are ready to mentor, yes. And support. Nancy's saying something, yes.
So how available is data information on this pharma business?
Oh,
Because we are talking about
available.
analytics and all that, to be sure you know what you're doing. Is it readily, easily available? Where does someone who wants to go into pharma business get that kind of information? I'm just
You go online, you can
online, you get a lot of
You
it.
get information, especially from, considering the fact that, of course, from the regulators, we are regulated by Pharmacy Council, we are regulated by Food and Drugs Authority, we are regulated by Ghana Standards Authority, depending on which parts of the pharma business you want to come into. So the regulators would be able
provide
to
the information.
Yes, would be able to provide the information. And then you can also come to the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, which is the umbrella association of all pharmacists. Pharmaceutical Imports Wholesalers Association is also there. We have the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association. So they are depending on what you want to do. You can easily get.
There's help out there.
Yes, there's help.
There is help out there. There are a lot of opportunities for us to go into the pharma business. Please talk to us. We are more than ready to assist. Now somebody is asking a question. Is there a way pharmacy businesses can merge to avoid one major risk, which is expiries. Expiries. Would you want to speak to that? Yes.
Yes.
Maybe I want to help out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, when it comes to pharmacy, community pharmacy practice, we have the Pharmacy Network Association,
Okay.
which sought to link all the community pharmacies, especially pharmacists in business. So, by use of technology, we are all linked, so that I have access to you. If you have a product that is close to expiry, you just have to put it out there, and then I see it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I see it, and then if I need it, I don't have to restock. I just come and pick yours.
Yeah.
It will save both of us money, and of course you give me some discount on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't lose out completely.
That's good.
Unfortunately, this hasn't taken off well because pharmacists have not jumped into it.
Into it.
I would want to use this platform to encourage pharmacists to join the Pharmacy Network Association. It is being championed by pharmacist Alote. Please get in touch and join the network, and you will save a lot of money on expiries. Yeah. So there's a question here. It says, what does the future of technology in pharmacies look like in Ghana?
Okay. Even though I'm not representing the regulator, what I do know is that they are looking at it, critically, because obviously COVID has taught us one thing: we can't do without technology. We need technology to do a lot of things. There's no big deal always having to get a physical prescription because you are saved. You may need to have a digital prescription. That I know. They're trying to incorporate it into law because unfortunately, legally, the Public Health Act does not mandate, for instance, an e-prescription. So unless that's I know it's in the pipeline, because I've had some series of meetings where pharmacy council reps were talking about getting that aspect of the Public Health Act being amended to incorporate digital pharmacy, if you want to put it that way, or e-pharmacy, if you want to put it that way. So there is a lot of hope. It is going to come sooner, and I even think that because of COVID, it will come sooner than we expected.
Honestly.
Because now COVID has taught us that we can't do things the normal way. Our new normal has incorporated technology. So
honestly,
we need to add it.
Yeah. So Kate, thank you so much for holding on. We appreciate your patience. Kate is now ready to make her 5-minute submission. Audience, can we listen to Kate? Kate, we are here, all ears for you.
Okay. Thank you again.
Hello, Kate.
Maybe we can't hear her, but maybe she's on.
Hello.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Can you hold on a little bit? Okay, Kate. Yes, please go on. We can hear you.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Thanks again. So my submission will be on people management and then leveraging my feminism. Hello?
Yes, let it go. People management, yes. Hello, Kate.
Hi.
Yes, please go on. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So with people management, what I want to say about it is pharmacy is a very sensitive industry. With respect to people management, you are as strong as your human resource or your human capital. And over time, the general trend that has worked for us with people management is that, one, we clearly define the job description of individuals, and which has helped in high performance. And then we facilitate teamwork as well, and this helps in profitability. And then having a clearly defined organizational structure so that who knows what they are responsible for or who they report to and what's not. And then adequately rewarding employees. And with the reward, it doesn't necessarily even have to be money. Sometimes it's a compliment. Sometimes you acknowledge somebody's performance as well. And then we enforce measures that ensure increased productivity, and this overall helps the company to meet its targets. when moving on to, my inherent strength as a woman in managing people, especially in the pharmacy business, I mean, first and foremost, I want to say that women are great managers, and we are able to use our feminism to our advantage when it comes to talent management. We pay attention to people, so it's easy to see who is strong where, and then put them in that particular department or field where they thrive, and ultimately that leads to the success of the organization. We're great at multitasking. I can be dropping an email and still having a conversation with my daughter at the same time, and it will still be spot on. And I strongly believe women are great when it comes to connecting to their teams. We're more empathic to our team members, and it takes me back to the ma conversation that we were having because it's easy for people to come to women with their issues because they know that they will lend them and then it's still on communication. We are able to leverage it to our advantage. Like, it helps us to find a great balance between being the strict boss and then the soft boss. Like, you can say that we can play the good cop and the bad cop at the same time, and still while still remaining very articulate and getting our points across, which almost always plays to our advantage. And we're very calm under pressure too, so that makes us good people managers as well. And finally, I want to add that women create great synergy. We are great collaborators, and we are always looking out for win-win situations when it comes to analysis, when it comes to partnerships, when it comes to, name it. We are very great when it comes to taking decisions that benefit both parties. Thank you.
When it comes to people management, and for what you just told us, has it always been the case? Because it looks like the ideal situation. Did you have to, at any point in time, bring in some changes in attitude, changes in the way we do things? Did you ever have to, at one point, bring that in, and how was it received?
Yes, we certainly did have to. We didn't start off having figured out all these things, and I think we are still learning. It's a continuous improvement process for us. We employ one thing and then it works for a couple of months, and then maybe something else has to come in. So before, honestly, I don't think things were as structured as they are now. Again, we're bringing up more outlets, so they need to properly structure the organization. So it hasn't been an easy migration. There's been rebellious here and there, but I think patience, communication, making the team understand that they are part of the entire growth process have played very important roles in the entire migration process for us.
Did your team have to make contributions to the change?
Yes.
So it's kind of, now we all own it, so we are all running with it.
Exactly.
More like.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Kate.
Thank you too.
We have another question here. It says, how has COVID affected your business, and how are you adjusting, Kate? Would you want to help us with that?
Sure. I mean, with respect to the supply chain, getting products in have not been easy at all. COVID, I think the prices on air transport has been very, very high, and that ultimately has also skyrocketed prices of some of our products. Left to us alone, we would sell at prices where almost everyone could afford, but transportation, the lack of supply, the inconsistencies, and everything has really affected overall stock and overall prices.
I guess this question is going to lead it, Africa. This lady says, I'm a young lady that started my own pharmacy at 26. I've made many mistakes along the line. Is there a way we could have these sessions, maybe quarterly, so young women can have real conversations with older pharmacy owners? Who are the older ones here? Older women on issues pertaining to running pharmacies. If we could even have mentorship programs where we get support from older women, we would really appreciate it. Thank you. Patients?
Lead aids would, I think, when they are doing their final submissions, lead aids should look and consider. But like I've said, like we've all said, we are all open. We are ready for mentorship, and so definitely, if lead aids organizes and sees it to it, it's possible. But then I'm sure lead aids would put that in their submission.
Thank you so much, Nana. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we would want to end the first session. The second session is going to be moderated by Nana, and Nana is a hospital pharmacist manager. Nana, you're welcome. Please, I hand over the baton to you.
Thank you, Auntie Doris. Just from the last drop of COVID and all that, I just wanted us to, look at briefly compounding, small-scale, non-traditional stuff. I think in one tweet I saw, somebody was like, he didn't understand why we sell bread in a pharmacy, in a community pharmacy, and I think the answer was sometimes the problem is hunger. Not necessarily you going into the pharmacy for medicine. With your experience, when somebody wants to go into, let's say, community pharmacy, because that's where you're coming from, would you advise strictly that a person sticks to pharmaceutical products, medicines, just that, or he could do a blend, possibly have sugar bread, tea bread? You may never know. Somebody working because it's hunger and it's not because the person, or possibly the headache is being caused by hunger. Not a disease.
No, I'm laughing. I'm sure they're all laughing because there's this saying that money has no color.
Okay.
Whether it is coming from bread or whether it's coming from sugar, it's still money.
Okay.
What we are talking about is pharmacy as a business.
Yes.
For business, you should know the trends
Okay.
and the opportunities available to you.
Okay.
For a community pharmacy, it's an outlet. People walk in to have their needs met.
Okay.
And we have all kinds of needs that we can meet in the community. So whether it is bread or sugar, I believe we can do very well in there. We can look at the quality of the bread that is coming in, and we can look at the storage conditions, how we should store that bread. And of course, we can add it to the paracetamol. So I have nothing against pharmacy stocking convenient items.
Okay.
Mind you, there are some pharmacies that are located in areas that are just up and coming. So for their needs, would you say that I'm just selling paracetamol, I cannot sell milk to you? We have a lot of people, up and coming areas whose needs must be met. Pharmacy is health. Food is health. And medicine is also health. So we can conveniently add the two.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing, of course, again, we all woke up to COVID. And then everybody starts compounding their own hand sanitizers and their own mixtures. And now virtually, I think everybody's now some experts on some locally brewed tea that they do and they put in. In your experience as a community pharmacist, would you advise, for instance, when I got my training, not too long ago, but quite a distance long ago, I remember we either have to do extemporaneous preparations in our facilities for some of the other things like Senaco, like magnesium trisilicate, etc. Now we don't do that often. But do you still think there's a need? Because I think COVID has also taught us one thing, that we can't do away without extemporaneous compounding. And what is not being seen as the traditional community pharmacy practice?
I would say that COVID has not opened up businesses for pharmacists alone, but even non-pharmacists are jumping in.
Yeah.
Because COVID has brought along with it some solutions. Now we have nose masks, all kinds of nose masks, hand sanitizers, rubbing alcohol. People who were eager to making traditional alcohol are now have not even diverted into hand sanitizers.
Okay.
So COVID has its own package that it has brought up. And for us as pharmacists, yes, we can also go for extemporaneous situations. You know, people are making the hand sanitizers and the rubbing alcohol, all those, they're making them in bulk.
Yeah.
So for us, I could say, for an extent, you could buy in bulk and repackage it.
Yeah.
Put your own label on it. And it becomes yours. And you market it as such. So the marketing, the packaging will differentiate yours from mine. And how you package, how you market it is what will make you excel. So it also has brought in an opportunity, some opportunity for us, which we can explore.
We can explore. And that's what this is all about, the Pharma Business Forum, the Women in Pharma Business. We're looking at trends and emerging opportunities in pharma business. For the next session, we want to talk about retail business, imports and wholesale, manufacturing. I don't know how many female pharmacists are into manufacturing, but we want to look at manufacturing. And then we'd also want to look at pharmacy and insurance. And then we have other consumer experts, some dialing in, and then the Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Association of Ghana, the executive secretary, would also want to talk. And so let's start with Kate's retail business, because a lot of the time people think that is what pharmacy is. Retail business, because now they see the community pharmacy. That is true. Community pharmacy is our face because it's in the community. And so, Kate, let's talk about trends and emerging opportunities in retail business. Is it viable? Do you think I should, for instance, come into it? What should I expect if I want to do retail business?
Okay. Viable, yes. I would say it is quite viable. What to expect? Maybe the competition in the market, the compliance requirements, and procuring your products for your customers. I mean, one thing I've realized over time is how constantly the retail pharmacy industry is evolving. The status quo is never enough. We always need to stay one step ahead of the changes that are coming. And if I'm speaking more specifically to Africa and Ghana on some of the current trends in retail pharmacy, there's the contribution of e-commerce where customers can interact with pharmacists, make requests, order online through their social media platforms without even necessarily having to walk into the pharmacy. Then there's the enterprise resource planning where pharmacies have their entire manual processes mirrored on softwares, and they are accessible to all by just accessing a computer. You can see your stock, you can manage your stock from where you are, you can engage your suppliers, you can check the sales that you made across branches, you can request your invoices and your receipts as well. With just a click of a button, there's just an endless list of things that you can do. Another trend that is also very popular in the retail pharmacy section now, again, due to competition, is developing strong customer relationship. Now, pharmacies have become very innovative when it comes to interacting with their current customers. We're sending reminders to them on their prescriptions that they are on, dropping birthday messages and checking up on them after they take their medication, maybe after 3 to 4 days, to be sure that whatever they came in for is actually working for them as well. So with respect to the emerging trends, I think there are quite a lot of things that are actually really coming up. And then there's the introduction of other essential services that are not necessarily medicinal in the pharmaceutical field. Like there are skincare products, there are household products that you can find in pharmacies, and a lot of pharmacies are catching up onto this trend. When it comes to women and then the unique strength that we bring onto the retail pharmacy, I think we are very great at sniffing opportunities out of challenges. A clear example would be the recent COVID-19 outbreak and the upsurge in the manufacture of locally made face masks. At a point, every woman in Ghana was a face mask producer because the market was there, the need for it was there, and the demand was available. we're able to network beautifully. Every woman knows someone who knows someone who knows someone, and this plays to our highest advantage when it comes to procurement, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to sales. We always know who is currently in need of a particular thing, and we pay very close attention to detail. We can see our customer in town and recognize them because maybe they've even been to the pharmacy once or twice. We start to build a relationship with them, and it makes them feel comfortable and accepted, enough to want to come back again to source for something different from the pharmacy. We have a unique way of building relationships with our customers, and what would have rather been a one-time sale tends to become like a loyal customer relationship thereon. But speaking more specifically with the unique opportunities in the retail pharma space, as I earlier stated, yes, it is viable.
Okay.
We can explore skincare lines. We can explore weight. Hello?
Yes, Kate, we are listening to you.
Okay. I was saying that speaking more specifically on unique opportunities that women can explore in the retail pharmacy space. Now we can explore skincare lines, we can explore weight management, we can explore fertility management. And I feel like these are areas where women are most likely to thrive because they are sensitive areas. If I'm discussing fertility with a fellow woman, I know how sensitive the issue is. I know what society or how society makes us feel around such areas. So I know exactly what to say and what not to say. It's easy for me to use myself as a clear-cut example to tell her my experiences, what has worked for me, what has not worked for me, and what's not. So with respect to these areas, I strongly feel like these are very viable, very thriving worthy spaces in the retail pharmacy business that women can explore. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. But just so that you can follow, two questions have come. One is, do you think it's necessary to have a loan to start a pharmacy business? And then two, because you're in retail, how do you feel about common pricing of products? Do you think it's something, so then, I mean, in, let's say, how do you call it, a 1 kilometer radii, all pharmacies within that have a common price for products. How do you feel about those things in retail business?
With respect to the loan, I want to say that if you can finance the pharmacy to an extent, you should. If you need external support to start, it's acceptable. We can't do it all on our own. If we can get the help, great. But if you can do it yourself, that's also great too. When it comes to pricing, it's a bit tricky because a lot of things influence pricing. There's where you are sourcing it from, there's the cost that goes into the transport, there's the taxes and other factors that come on board. So it's a bit tricky to say that yes, all pharmacies should have the same pricing when it comes to specific products. If they are sourced locally, yes, but if they are not, it is it is a bit dicey. Some yes, some no.
Yeah, no, can I come in here on the
Yes,
pricing?
yes,
On the pricing. Depending on where the pharmacy is located, like Kate said, the parameters that go into pricing are so the array is very varied. If you have a pharmacy in a location where it is prime, you're paying prime rent, your overheads are so high, it goes into your costing. And so the consumer will have to pay for that. But if you have it in another place where it is easy, the doors are open, no air conditioning, overheads are so low, the price will be different. And again, if the quality, where you source your products from, you don't source from the same place. And along the supply chain, we have the importer, we have the wholesaler. The wholesaler will pick from the importer at a certain price. He puts his margin on it. So by the time it gets to me, in my small corner there, it's gone through so many hands, and I cannot have the same price as one who bought the product directly from the importer or the manufacturer. Okay. So the indices are different. Yes. So price controls are a bit difficult.
Difficult.
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be relatively difficult.
Okay. So in wading into price control and manufacturer and importers, we would want to hear from Mrs. Patience Chega, import and wholesale pharma business.
Yeah, so import and wholesale for Ghana, it's a bit difficult, and as we are saying again, the COVID has made it a bit more difficult because transportation fares have increased, and it's difficult to even get the products. All over the world, everybody has been hit one way or the other. APIs are not available, manufacturers have not been at work. So sourcing for products now is becoming very difficult. And even when you get your goods ready, how it will be shipped to you becomes a problem because the airlines are not working like they are normally doing. Shipping lines, some have gone off, so it's a real problem now, the import and distribution. When you get your products to Ghana, clearing the products has its own issues from the port. It takes a while. There was a time that even at the port, they were working on shifts. So your products get there, and by the time you realize all the goods that you have is demurrage. So you end up paying double the air freight to get the products here. And after 7 days, your products go into demurrage and you start paying. So by the time you clear, prices have increased. Okay. And at this time too, money is not there. We all know people are losing jobs and all that. So it's made it very difficult because prices have gone higher than it should be. So you realize that you have a product in stock that you were selling for a price. You run out and you import, bring it back, and you cannot sell at the same price again. Okay. So that is the problem we are in now. Okay. You bring the products to, and the same way that you are not able to bring it quickly, you are not able to sell it quickly too. Because if we all would notice, because of the social distancing, most shops, you go there, you have to stand outside for about 5 to 10 minutes before you are allowed, because the number of people are allowed into a shop has also
limited.
Yes, so you stand there. So a lot of people would rather not come. If they have something they are taking for now, they would rather not come until there's a need. So generally, the sales in the pharmacies have gone down. And once the sales in the pharmacy goes down, then the importation and distribution is affected. Okay. One thing that we have noticed, even though we're all talking about analysis and we're not keeping data, is that if you are into children's products like cough mixtures and those things, you realize that in this particular time, the sale of cough mixtures has gone down because the children, they are home. They are eating well, they are not going to school. The sharing of toffees have gone down, so the cough mixtures are kind of expiring on us. So if that is what you are importing, then there's a problem now. If you are fortunate and it ended up that you registered vitamin C, like we did before the COVID, then you are in business. And now you are in business, but you can't get the stocks down. So there's so much issues all over with the COVID that we have at the moment. Okay. But it's a good area to
But at least the main thing is you also need to anticipate and learn about the trends and what is happening.
Something like COVID, I don't think anybody could have learned about COVID coming in. But you have to learn about it. Even importation and all that, it's seasonal. Okay. Generally, it's seasonal. There's a time for malaria, there's a time for cough and cold, there's a time for everything.
So at least you need to know.
Yeah, you have to know the season. Exactly. Even before you decide to go into importation, You have to know what area you want to venture into. What kind of person are you? Are you the person who cares about how people look? Then look at something more like the skincare area. It has its own followers.
Okay.
Do you want to help women who are looking for children? You go into fertility. Do you want to do the general import? It has its own products that you can bring. So you really have to sit down and know yourself and know what interests you and maybe your team. You can discuss with your team what is trending now, what areas do you think we should go into. Because there are so many areas that are so much saturated now. If you venture into it, you bring the things, and we are not talking about retail expiry. Wholesale distribution expiry is huge. It's huge. There are some of the things you can't do, you can't advertise, you can't do anything. You are seeing the product sitting on the shelf and you are waiting for it to just expire and going through it away. Because there's not much you can do. So it's a very
You need to know the terrain, more or less, know the terrain. Talking of terrain, manufacturing. Yes, so Theresa Yamson, CEO of Phytorica. I just said it. I don't think there are lots of women in manufacturing, are they?
True. There are not a lot, in fact, very few women. I think before I start, I'll say a quick hello to Lucia Ade. I can see her over there. She's the Executive Secretary for the Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Association of Ghana. So I'm sure she can add to that and allude to the fact that, yes, there are very few women in manufacturing.
Okay.
And I'll make an appeal as we're talking about pharmacists that we do need more. And it is, I think it's an interesting field to be in. And it's one, especially now, we can see just how important healthcare is and the health of our society, that this is something that women should aspire to and become more involved. I can say for Phytorica Pharmaceuticals that our head of manufacturing is also a woman.
Oh, yeah.
So within manufacturing, and she's a pharmacist. So within manufacturing, that can be an avenue that women can explore and perhaps move into, because you might have the understanding and the knowledge about the pharmaceutical ingredients. Why not look at how that is turned into the product? And that's really what we're doing when it comes to the manufacturing aspect. Of course, some of what we've touched on today also come into play. You need to have strong leadership skills. You need to be a good team player. You need to use your intuition and understanding, both as a woman, but also in terms of how you also manage people in order to succeed. And I think for me, that is important no matter what business you are in. And that in itself is it. Speaking perhaps a little into trends and looking maybe more into Ghana, I would say that the manufacturing business has focused, if I perhaps even look back, naturally in Ghana we've always been focused on infections. Malaria infection has and will continue for a long while, unfortunately, to be a driving force or issue within our communities. So within manufacturing, we tend to look at what are the current health needs and now beginning to look at the future ones. So in the past, if it was, as I'm saying, focusing on, say, infections, focusing on pain relief, looking at anything that could do with, say, bacterial infections, if you looked at some of what the WHO reports tell us, you would see that if malaria is number one, maybe today, upper respiratory infections tends to be number two. This is obviously, perhaps I would say, if you look at again at those trends, they've come down a bit, even though they remain high and they remain top of the list. And what is tending to then rise is what you call your non-communicable diseases. Oncology is becoming a big factor. So we're looking at the cancers. We're looking at perhaps hypertension, diabetes. And this is where, for us in manufacturing, we already have the 49 restricted items. And when I speak of this, these are ones where we've gotten together with the government to say these are essential medicines that manufacturers within Ghana can produce. So why are we giving industry, or why are we not allowing industry to grow and supporting industry in that fact, but rather we continue to import? Because every time we talk of importation, and patients, please bear with me, there's the element of the fact that, yes, that is actually therefore business that we're sending outside of Ghana. So we need to look, as we're saying, if we say we are women and we're entrepreneurial, what can be done locally and how can we do that? With the Manufacturing Association as well, of Ghana as well, we're looking at saying, can we extend this list and lobby the government to say there are more products that we can make?
There's one thing that we have to always notice. Almost everybody manufacturing in Ghana here started maybe just as a retail.
Except us.
Except you. But do you remember that was set up by the government?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
Government started that for production of certain products.
Yes.
Almost everybody started as a retail.
Correct.
So we shall all get there.
Patients, yes, we shall all get there. Right now, there's something called cottage industry.
Thank you.
Okay.
You don't have to start like Phytorika.
Exactly.
If you go and see the machines they are using there, you say, wow,
When will I get there?
how am I even going to get this? You don't have to start off like that. Start small. There's an opportunity for you to also grow. You start small and by you can add on to it. Fortunately, FDA is doing something on cottage industry. I think it's coming up on Thursday. Please visit. Know what it's all about. And young pharmacists, please position yourself. If you want to be a giant in future, learn. Start small.
It's true.
Yeah, and you will also be there.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're talking about affordability and cost here. Is it cheaper to produce in Ghana than to import? I'm just asking.
Come again.
Okay, so what Nancy wants to know, is it cheaper, for instance, to produce and sell paracetamol in Ghana, manufacture paracetamol in Ghana, as opposed to importing paracetamol?
The cost of doing business
can be
in
very
Ghana
high, and
is
there are no
high.
tax
And I
rebates.
think that is where FDA had to step in to prevent importation.
Of
Because
some of
the
those.
products,
Otherwise-
the prices you can get from outside is about half.
It's also because of the economies of
Yeah.
scale. So if they are producing maybe, and this is something that, back to what we're talking about, I can't make all the medicines. And you see that each pharmaceutical manufacturer tends to try to specialize in certain things. What can I then do and do well? And therefore, if I do that and ideally optimize the throughput through my factory, I can bring the prices further down. So this is how in manufacturing you need to, because I can't always do, of course, changeovers should be planned well, because I can't produce one thing all the time. It's like we are talking about bread. You can't eat bread every day. So I do need a mix that becomes what I call my portfolio of products in order to be able to then target all the health needs. I might have paracetamol, then I look at something for malaria. So am I producing your artemether lumefantrine for you? Am I then looking at the cough mixtures? How do I do for bacterial infections? Targeting all of these and then ensuring that within the factory I am making them. But where it comes, as you're saying, that it becomes a little difficult is obviously if I can get, somebody is producing for also a larger say China. The population size alone, one factory in China's perhaps one day production could be my 6 months or 1 year production when you compare. So then for them, making that and maybe even selling a small amount of it for somebody who is importing, they will get it much cheaper. As well, we spoke about the value chain. A lot of, it's not even just of the APIs or the active pharmaceutical ingredients that's an issue. I'm having to import packaging. I'm having to import, maybe even down, I was saying last time we had a session with the ministry, and I think Lucia was there. Something as basic as corn starch or maize starch. So we said, yes. So can I have cassava starch? Quality, you see, because pharmaceutical needs a certain grade, a quality grade that must be met in order to use in a factory. following my good manufacturing practices, which is my GMP, which is according to the WHO standards. I can't just take any raw material and use. I have to meet these quality standards in order that the drugs then that we're putting on the market can be efficacious and also meet the correct concentration levels. So all of that, this adds into what might be the cost. He, perhaps in India or China, has a lot of local supplies. His packaging is maybe 100 kilometers maximum away from him. His other raw material or inputs are coming. Therefore, by the time he finishes, his cost of production would be lower. I am facing exactly the same thing. I'm importing all the raw materials. I'm importing all the packaging materials before I turn them into finished products. Yeah. So I'm adding, so it's really the labor here that I'm then utilizing in order to make the products. And when you put that on the scale and you're comparing, at the end, you can't.
Electricity cost. Forward, backward.
Thank you, backward. This is what I said to you. I said,
something like that.
this is the whole
It is really quality
we are looking, but we're looking
at,
so for example, when I think at that time, and I've visited them once, they came to see us. I used to start factory, and I said, please. They said, look, we are starting up again. And I said, you know what? Even if you can bring me a few, you bring it. We will test it, because again, I need to make sure if we work as a partner, by the time you finish all your work, hopefully, and I've given you what I need, we then arrive at the standards that I need. That is what it is.
Wow.
Yes. So local sourcing, yes, as we're saying, is essential. Okay. Now we are looking at the fact that, and you see a lot of the manufacturers are going into it. I'm talking about packaging. But we have maybe packaging suppliers who set up here in Ghana, even within West Africa. So can we get, but again, even for them, some of their base material, they still have to import.
Wow. So exactly, there's a huge gap. But then there is, but then there is a lot of opportunities and a lot of opportunities in manufacturing. For our viewers and those listening in, there is just a lot of opportunities. Just to wrap up with Theresa, I would want to invite Lucia. Lucia, are you here? Lucia, Executive Secretary.
I'm here.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And just give us a few of your thoughts in 3 minutes. Give us a submission. And then we'd also want viewers to also, and participants, sorry. We want to also acknowledge Ansa. Ansa Kodo will be talking to us shortly in Pharma as a marketing business. And she's coming in and dialing in all the way from Switzerland. So even though it's cold, and sorry, Ghana is warm, sorry. But we would love to hear your thoughts. So yes, Lucia.
Okay, so thank you so much for the opportunity. I greet Madam, yes, and then also panelists. I'm very for this opportunity. I think I'll speak on two main things. The first one is a woman in pharma business, which is tough. And then the second thing is the opportunities that are available. So I am very grateful that there was that mentioned, you have to juggle career, being a woman with the pharma business. Sometimes it involves work duties and mama and all of that. And sometimes that is difficult for women to actually come into the industry. I think currently we have about 2 CEOs or MDs in the pharma space, which is not good enough. We have a few more people who are technical, and then other people that want to join. I think I'll use this form to encourage men out there. Don't be afraid. You don't have to start big, and that's due to the opportunities. You don't have to actually start like a or other company. All you have to do is just first of all identify the opportunity. So we have a lot of inputs that we use. From the alcohol, the cornstarch, the packaging materials, the corrugated boxes, and everything that we use, that we need people to manufacture for the industry, and you can specialize there. And I must say that the companies are actually happy to grow with those companies. So if you start small and you want to grow with them, they'll be able to give you the specifications and grow with you. So there are those opportunities. And of course, if you are doing retail now, you have a couple of outlets. You move into wholesale, you do a bit of importation.
I think you should be reaching closer to manufacturing, because manufacturing is for the economy. It reduces kind of foreign exchange we actually take out there to buy raw material or products. It also encourages more jobs to be available in the country. There's so many markets. It reduces inflation. That's a lot for our economy. So I would want to encourage more and more women that don't be afraid. If you have any challenges, my name is Lucia. There, look for me. I'm very easy to find. So just look for me. Have a talk. I'll be happy that 10 years down the line we'll have more women sitting across the table making decisions, ensuring the future generation is employed, because now we have more pharmacists coming out. What do we do with if we are not careful to ensure that some of these young people have jobs? What will happen is that they'll reduce the hanging of lines to, I hope people are not listening, hand this just so that they can make something. And that will not be good for all of us. So thank you for the opportunity again. I would want to encourage more women to come into the industry and not be afraid of the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucy. That is well thought. And again, Lucy says she's open. Any woman, be a pharmacist, but as far as you want to go into drug manufacturing, she's available. We want to acknowledge our sponsors for making sure that this Women in Pharmacy Business Forum actually happen. We want to thank Janssen, Ozone's Chemist, Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Kofi Chrome Pharmacy Limited, and the Lady Pharmacist Association of Ghana, LAPAC. Moving on, another important thing that is coming into the space is health insurance.
You wanted to
Yes. It's health insurance. And we are privileged to have the CEO of one of the leading health insurance companies in Ghana nationwide, Nancy Ampa, to discuss with us the trends and emerging opportunities in health insurance for women in pharma business. Nancy?
All right, thank you. I'm not a pharmacist. I'm into health insurance, and what I know is that about 30 to 35% of the claims we pay go to pharmacies or are on drugs or medications, as the case may be. So I'm more of a consumer than a practitioner of pharmacy, to speak. For us, health insurance is now, or I judge one of the best ways to finance healthcare now. Even though in Ghana we still have a lot of out-of-pocket payments, health insurance is the way to go if you want to attain the UHC as SDG something 3 or 4. I'm not sure which one it is, but to attain universal health care coverage. So for us, it's the rising cost. You've explained what leads to all that. I appreciate it, but when it comes to claims, I wish it would go down. What I've noticed is the tendency to, now I'm not sure whether it's the prescribers or the dispensers, but there's a tendency to go for branded drugs, as opposed to if you, well, that's in the private health insurance space. In the national space, it's all generics. Yeah. But in the private space, we tend to see more of the branded ones than the, and it's like generic sometimes is a bad word. You say generic and people are not too happy with it. They think you are giving them substandard drugs. I don't know where that came from. So people prefer the branded drugs, and so we end up having a high cost of care. The high cost of care would translate into higher premiums, and then fewer people can afford it, and then we end up attaining the UHC. So if there's a way we could encourage good generics, I've been told there's something like good, and another word I learned, efficacious. Generics. So that the cost of healthcare would sort of come down a bit and be a bit more affordable for people. Also, maybe I'm treading on dangerous ground here, but a lot of the people go and they are left to the MCs. I think I'm treading on dangerous ground, but if the pharmacists would take a little more interest in what is being dispensed. Okay. Because some of the MCAs can make certain bad mistakes, and then interest, they don't go back to the pharmacy, they come to us and yell. Yes. So, because now we send them a text message that you got this drug and this drug, so they come back to and say this was the wrong one and start, telling all sorts of things. So if that could also be looked at. With COVID coming in, we realized that telemedicine seems to be the way to go. But you can't just get up and order drugs, no. Some medical person must prescribe those drugs for you to get it. So we are trying to put up a telemedicine platform where we'll be able to send e-prescriptions. For us, we don't want to be sending it to Victoria's all the time. It should float, and then whoever picks it up, picks it up. So that would be the way to go. So it means now then, pharmacies must now move into what? Deliveries. Okay. If they can. Because people are
We saw claims drop by 30%. It might sound good, but it doesn't make a healthy nation, in my opinion. It will drop, which means somebody's business has dropped by 30%.
Yeah.
Realistically, that's what for me, it looks like a saving, but ultimately, people are now going to administer all sorts of things at home, and eventually, they'll go back to the hospitals anyway, and the problem would come back. So if pharmacists would now have to start doing what? Delivery, a little more customer care. Something I read says that when people are sick, the first place they go to is a pharmacy or a chemical seller. They don't even go to a doctor. So it means something must give at the pharmacies if they are the first point of contact. So it must go beyond just dispensing drugs to maybe really advising. I mean, somebody walks and says, I'm buying amlodipine. They'll just sell it without really bothering to find out whether there's a prescription, whether you know your BP is okay, not okay, whatever you're taking is all right or not all right. So that has to be looked at. And then I think chronic care management is done better at the pharmacy than at the hospital.
I see.
I think so, because when you're a druggist, you just walk into the pharmacy and buy more. But it will be easy for us to have some kind of chronic management system which is centered around the pharmacies. The pharmacies are actually closer than the hospitals are. And that's where they get the medication from. And sometimes they have to go all the way to see a doctor. Now I'm talking like an insurance person. I'm trying to save consultation costs. All the way to the doctor on a monthly basis just to get a prescription. I think that is not right. But if there's a way where, you know, I'm talking controlled patients, of course, not the haphazard ones. So that if you know that your prescription, as long as you go to Victoria's, they're going to check your BP and make sure that it is still good on the medication you are on. If it is not good, they can refer you to the hospital. On the assumption that you are complying anyway. So that the chronic management is done more at the pharmacy level, because they are closer, they can see what you do month to month, instead of going to that hospital wait and all that, and that'll be better control. So those are the few opportunities I see there. As women, I think we've said a lot already, but especially in the pharmacy retail looks like, you know, I'm doing my business, it's okay. But if you're in a phytorica or the rest, the men play the game better than we do. They are seen, they lobby, they push, we don't. Because when I was growing up, I was told a lady is seen, not heard, right? That's what my mom used to say, so you don't talk too much, you don't push yourself. But that's what the men do, they push themselves, they lobby for positions, we don't. So we need to be seen more, because we can really do it. It's not like we can't do it. So we get passed over just because you're a woman. Unfortunately, now we have to go home and have babies and stuff, which also derails us a wee bit. But from COVID, we realized we can work from home. So having a baby shouldn't be a problem anymore. We should be able to change a few laws to give us maybe 6 months, 7 months maternity, or maybe after the first 3 months that you have, the rest of the time you can work from home, which gives you more peace of mind and more productivity. I don't know how that works in a pharmacy, but in the pharma business, I think that can be done. If you are into manufacturing and stuff, or even the other parts of the food, the value chain, you should be able to do some of the work from home. But you need to be seen, you need to be in there for them to know that you are there. Otherwise, they bypass in the office politics. That's what happens. So women need to be a bit more aggressive. Go for it. I mean, math and the rest is not for men. Yeah, say we do better math. I love figures. And I think if you take all the thing based on figures, like I said, the Makola woman there is housewife one woman, but she knows what she's coming in, what is going out. If today the trotro took her 8 cedi, she will increase it to reflect that. If tomorrow it is 5 cedi, she will drop it to reflect it. So we're able to, you know, move around that. So we need to bring that same thing. At home, we are the negotiators. Between your son and the father, you can actually broker some peace deals. Your sister and anything you want, you can broker peace deals. We should bring that to the office as well. Be able to negotiate, be able to go for what we want. So I think women should be a little bit more pushy than we are now. We are a bit too laid back. That's why sometimes they bypass us. But anytime you see a woman at the helm, I'm not praising myself, but you get better results. You actually do get better results. So it means we can do it, but we need to push and be out there for them to see that, yes, we can do it. And that will serve as encouragement for the younger ones coming up. Then they'll go. Mentorship, all that, I totally believe in it. I think it should help the people coming up. That's what I have to say.
Okay. Thank you very much. Nancy.
Yes. I wanted to find out, we are sitting here and unfortunately it's the men who brought us here.
Well, the men brought us here, but the women have taken over.
So, to be more assertive, we should be able to bring ourselves.
Yeah.
I think we have to look at things from
And I wanted to ask Nancy something on insurance. Yeah, you mentioned something about claims going down. I think it is general. It's not about delivery. No, the staff. Have you also realized that some people have lost their jobs? Some companies, your beneficiaries are no more
there.
engaged.
It's a whole big thing.
It's a whole, COVID has
even
changed.
those that are there, people are downsizing. Some are closing down.
Yes.
Those in the hospitality don't go there. They
No.
are totally shut
Look
down.
at this place.
All their members are gone. And even those who are still working don't have enough funds to even pay the premiums.
Exactly.
And all these famous working from, we can't even find them to collect your premiums. Yeah. So it leads to a sort of vicious cycle. So it may seem like the claims going down is not a good indication.
No.
Not by anybody's standards. Because it means the pharma business has gone down by 30% from what I'm seeing. So it is not necessarily good. It is not.
May I hear from you? You mentioned chronic care management.
Yes.
Are you expecting that from your service providers? Are you open to reimburse?
We are open to that.
Wow.
We are really open to that.
This is an opportunity for the community pharmacists.
We have to get the regulators involved.
Yes.
We have to lobby.
Once the insurer is ready, then we can also start lobbying.
What we see is if you ask a few of the chronic patients, so those who go to Kolebu can get as much as a 6 months prescription. And
it's not the best.
It's okay if the doctor gives you a 6 months, but it's not just good enough to just go for the medication. That's where I'm coming from. So if the pharmacy will do a little more than before the medication, let's check your BP.
Do something.
Let's be sure that it's still good.
Fine.
Or let's just test your sugar and be sure that you are still good. If you are not good, no medication, go back to the hospital and report.
Okay.
Then we manage at that level.
At that level, okay. All right, so thank you. That's another opportunity that is coming up from the health insurance segment. We are just about having our last and final speaker. Ansa Podo talk to us about pharmacy as a marketing business. Ansa is dialing in from Switzerland. She is a pharmacy marketing expert, and she works with GSK Consumer Health. Ansa, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can perfectly hear you. Hi.
Hi all.
Hi.
Great. Right, so I'll just spend the next few minutes talking about the current and emerging trends in pharma marketing as a business. Just tweak it a bit to look at the context of the conversation, which is ongoing, just to make sure we're relevant, and also look at what is the unique or inherent strength that as a woman you can bring to marketing when you are in the pharma business. So to start off looking at the current and emerging trends that we have in pharma marketing, as we know, COVID has immensely negatively impacted humanity in all areas. But one thing that it has done for marketing is that it has accelerated our thinking when it comes to digital marketing. First of all, there's insight gathering. The advent of AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning has ensured that we get to understand where patients are going for information, HCPs are going for, what they're searching for, as well as what influences and generally how they do behave. This provides a lot of data, or should I say rich data, that businesses can leverage and use to advise their marketing strategies, as well as deliver personalized engagement to support high contextual consumer experiences. One of the things that Nana mentioned earlier in the program was looking at our interactions. Due to the fact that face-to-face interactions has decreased, more and more we're looking at how do we interact with people remotely or through virtual engagements. So businesses need to start looking at how best do I set myself up so that I can better provide services for patients or even for the healthcare practitioner, wherever they might be, and be able to deliver information or content or solutions that are relevant for him wherever he or she might be. Telehealth and e-commerce is a booming business at the moment. In this era, people are quite apprehensive to go out, and most of us found ourselves online shopping or buying other things online, which we would have normally gone out to purchase. So this is an area where pharma businesses need to look at their businesses and see how best they're set up to be able to address this recent trend, be able to provide medical service or healthcare facilities or services to people wherever they want them or wherever they find themselves. One key thing when it comes to marketing that we need to keep at the core of all initiatives is looking at customer or patient behavior, which is something we tend to overlook. But we know that in recent studies, or even where we find ourselves with the hygiene measures when it comes to COVID, people are now looking at preventative health measures. They're looking at information or data to better protect themselves. So it's a trend that we see patients as well as even governments going into. So as a pharma business, how do I best tap into this behavior? Because we know that this is a trend that will be here for the next year or two. So how do I best utilize all the strategies that I have to set me up for success and ensure that I'm putting measures in to win against competition in this area? And that leads me into looking at what is the add value that as a pharmacy business I do bring to the table. Earlier, there was a question about if you do have a retail, do you just concentrate on selling medications, or do you also look at selling bread and other facilities? Now, people buy into what you're selling if there's an evident greater benefit beyond what the products that you sell. And research has shown that patients or customers, they're really looking into what is the add value that you as a pharma business you provide to them. I would want to enter a retail where I can maybe get all the things that I need as a one-stop shop and be able to, which will be convenient for me. So within this trend, we're looking at how best do I, as a business, support my customer base such that they do see me as not just providing treatment, but also looking at what are the non-pharmacological or non-therapeutic solutions that I have available to them, and building really a relationship. When I come into your business, how do you receive me? How do you interact with me? That's also a key thing that we need to look at when it comes to marketing your business or marketing whatever products or services that you're selling. The last point on the current trend is social media. There has been a lot of or increased consumption when it comes to social media. Patients, consumers, HCPs are all online searching for information. Within this, when the pandemic started, there was so much fake news and so much myth and facts that people were looking for sources of relevant information. So people are out there consuming information. So you need to be out on social media. You need to look at how best you can leverage that to support your business or to be able to provide support for your customer base and really utilize it such that it reaches people or it has relevance and tapping into the current trends that we currently at the moment do have. So these are just a few of the emerging trends that we're seeing within the marketing world, which businesses need to look at to see how best do I position myself, to look at digital marketing, to look at social media, how to better leverage that, looking at added value when it comes to the services that I provide as a business. Looking at the inherent or unique strengths that women bring to pharma marketing, I would say there's so much we have to offer, but most of the time we sell ourselves short. I'll just use a few minutes to go through I'll quote a few stereotypical phrases that we say to ourselves, and we do tend to see it as negative, but I do consider that as a trait, which is really positive and which we can best leverage to our advantage. First of all, marketing is all about insight. It's really asking a lot of questions with why and getting right to the root of what is the human truth or what drives or influences someone. As women, genuinely, we are curious. We are inquisitive beings in a good way. Yeah. So we ask the difficult questions, which provide answers, such that we're able to find solutions. So that really is a strength that as a marketer, you do need. The other thing is marketing has sometimes been seen as very functional, looking at products and services. But as we're evolving, we're looking at how do I bring the emotion into the equation? How do I best bring the human feelings into what I'm communicating? And this really places us as women in a very unique position where we are seen as the emotional people or caregivers or nurturers. So who best suited to do this job than a woman? The other thing is we bring empathy to the table. When it comes to marketing, it's really all about understanding your customer and knowing what drives them or what influences them and being able to tap into that need. So it really is key that for women, we bring that creativity to bear. And the last thing I'll mention is I do think as women, we are very resilient. We don't break easily. And therefore, when it comes to marketing, it's really stretching yourself and pushing for the limit. I think we are more than capable to do more when it comes to marketing. So in summation, that's all the key things that I wanted to say about marketing as a business.
And so I think there was a question that I'm saying that there was a question about how to handle patient complaints. With your experience, how would you handle, let's say, a patient having a complaint, be it in a community pharmacy or a hospital pharmacy? How would you handle it? Especially when it is with respect to, let's say, the price of the product.
Right. So with the price of the product, I guess most of the time it sometimes is relative. It's all about you having built that relationship with the person and with the customer or the patient who has an issue. First of all, find out why the reason behind the sentiment that it is. It could be it's too expensive or might not be. It might not be what the person needs. So really get to the bottom of why the person feels a certain way about the product, and then being able to offer other solutions which would best meet the person's needs. So being able to substitute is what we also need to be very adaptable at, because most of the time what customers feel is that pharma businesses, we do not understand their emotional or financial needs when it comes to solutions or treatment. So if there's a more affordable or drug available, you could substitute it for that person and ensure that it's not always that you have to make the big bucks with a particular customer. You can win with him by just providing a solution which best meets the person's price point, and then provide other solutions.
Okay. Yeah. Do we have any other? Because I think in talking about social media, again, I think I read in one of Facebook about some pharmacy in Nigeria and the business they lost by not responding to a complaint that somebody had put up on Facebook. So I think it's one of the things that if you want to go into social media, and again, like we said, it is not about you doing everything. You may need to even employ some social media experts to help manage your social media portfolio. But like Ansar said, when you have a question, when you have a complaint, I think the best thing for you to do is to tackle it immediately and as soon as possible so it doesn't drag on. I think for me, yes, Teresa.
I was just going to add that is actually an excellent point. We say, and it's actually true a lot of times in the African context, one person tends to give maybe or pass on the message about your product to at least 6 others.
Whoa.
So if you imagine that maybe if it was positive feedback, they would talk positively about your product to at least 6 others. That 6 continues. That's the social media effect. We do it in our local communities, and this is how, in a way, word can spread about whether this product is good. This is why we say this one is good, this is not. So we naturally do it. Where it comes to social media, and that's where you then need to look at your content. How are you, as you're saying, managing that platform in a way to highlight the positives coming out of it and ensure that in real time you're monitoring what is being said, answering and responding, because in the same way that you'll be talking to people in real time on that social media page, people are interacting with you, and you need to give them concrete, valuable information about your product. What is fundamentally better about my product versus my competition? Therefore, you're giving the reason why. If I give you a compelling reason why, you would then, next time you go into that pharmaceutical outlet or that pharmacy, be more willing to buy my product over the next competitor. And where I'm not doing that or I fail, that's where then I lose that consumer, and the business ultimately.
Looking at social media, I think I would just want to take us back to our last AGM when we spoke about pharmacy in the digital age. Whether we like it or not, social media has come to stay. And it is robbing us of our business. If we continue to stay in our pharmacies, the business is going in the clouds above us. Non-pharmacists are selling OTCs, and I have a testimony of, a child needing Advil syrup, and a non-pharmacist, somebody who doesn't even have a premises at all, is into pharma business. So the times have changed. The trend is now different, but there are still opportunities for us, and social media is one opportunity that we can take to enhance our business.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I was wondering, so you're talking about what makes somebody go for this product against the other product. But if you're talking about, say, a retail pharmacy, that's what most of pharmacies in Ghana
Yeah.
is. How are you going to project that?
This is talking,
That's what
as Ansa was saying, this is about e-commerce. So
Yeah.
if I'm talking
okay.
e-commerce, I'm saying what you have as your pharmacy is what we call in the e-commerce language bricks and mortar. I don't, back to her question, I don't need to have the physical space
mortar.
of the bricks and mortar. I am online. So
Yeah.
I am dealing, but you see, obviously in our space or our environment, not everybody has access to, yes, it's maybe a platform, and simply because internet and connectivity comes at a cost.
Yeah.
When that cost begins to come down, and we are seeing that even in today's
now,
COVID
yeah.
world, that exposes accessibility to everyone. As more and more of the population, and look at our children and the young ones today, they're doing everything online.
Online,
So
yeah.
if I can do that online, I don't invest in the bricks and mortar anymore, but I invest rather in the e-commerce aspect to build a solid website on a page. I then
Where they
invest
can have
in the,
access. Okay,
thank you.
all right,
I then invest in the distribution. I've got in the back, all I've got is a warehouse, a small space. I've got 2 or 3 motor riders, delivery gentlemen, who, as the orders are coming in online, we're doing that. Even for us in manufacturing, because of COVID, this was almost a necessity. We were like overnight having to look at how do we ensure that deliveries, even payments, should be all done online. And this is the way to go if you're looking at any business.
So COVID has gotten some rude awakening.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we were actually anticipating, but then it was fast-track a few things, because if I've manufactured it and I cannot get it
you can't
because
get it to-
people are shut down.
Why sit back?
I mean, yes.
And people are afraid to move out to
Thank
research.
you.
So
Yes.
why don't you carry it to them?
Exactly. Ansa, yes, you wanted to make a comment before we wrap up.
One of the things that can set us apart from just being the Me Too pharmacy. Most of the time when people go into retail, they just think about me opening up a shop and being in that little corner to service people. But as we rightly said, e-commerce and telehealth is now the new norm. So how do I ensure that I'm providing these additional services to people and being able to deliver to them? And that's what will help you set yourself apart from what everybody's doing, and of course get more customer loyalty as you do that.
Thank you. So, it's been, is it almost 2 hours? It's been 2 hours, it's been 2 hours of a learning experience. It's been 2 hours of trends and opportunities and business ideas. And for all those who listened in and for all those who partook, what we want you to understand and know is that there are still very many opportunities and good ones for women, especially in pharmacy business. There are qualities because you are a woman, you have certain qualities that makes you succeed, and so we should not shy away from coming into pharmacy business because we think that we can't. By virtue of the fact that you're a woman, you can. And then, of course, another thing that we learned is start small and grow. Let's not think that at once you start, you want to become a fighter riker. Start small and grow. Start small, think big. We want to acknowledge our sponsors again, Janssen, Ozones, Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Kofi Krom Pharmacy, Prime Pharmacy, and Lapag. And again, and Clinell sanitizer made by Clinell Ventures. Thank you so much for making this possible. Like we had said, Lead It Africa wants us to know that this is the beginning, and so they would have another session very soon, which they are dubbing Pharma Business Mentors. But for the panelists who were here, both those of us on set and those that dialed in and joined, Kate, Ansa, and Lucia, thank you so much for making it and giving us an insight, which I believe that this forum has created that opportunity. Again, thank you, Theresa Yamsen, Patience Chega, and Nancy Ampa for joining us make the first edition of Women in Pharma Business. I mean, I think with this kind of kick, it is just going to continue because this is a conversation that doesn't end. This is a conversation that we would continue. You can reach out to Lead It Africa. They would put up their numbers that you can contact them with. And then let's keep the conversation going. But what? Start small, think big, start small and grow. And because you are a woman, you can. Let nobody put fear in you that you can't. You can. And thank you so much for joining. We will see you shortly and we will see you soon. Thank you very much.